What's up, everybody? It is I, Sigma, and we are back with episode 63 of the BBET GamesCast. I'm joined by Superman Jeff,
What's going on, everybody? Up, up, and away. Let's get this going.
as well as Blue Bones.
It's your boy. What's going on, everybody? What's good with you?
As you can see, Gamer is missing this week. Hopefully, he'll be back with us soon. But as we always do, we're going to go over what we've been playing / watching for the week. Does anyone want to go first? My list isn't all that long.
Yeah, I got a short one too. I go first. So playing wise, I've been playing mostly just some Destiny. Beyond Light is coming November, so I've been trying to catch up on a lot of the weapons and whatnot that I've missed from the past seasons. Doing a lot of Crucible. They just released a new exotic called the Traveler's Chosen, which is a recycled weapon from. So in Destiny 2, when you first started the game, they gave you it was either a white or a blue weapon that was called Traveler's Chosen. So that was the only weapon you had once they destroyed the tower and stuff. So they made it an exotic, and it's a pretty cool exotic. So the exotic has it has pretty much the range of a hand cannon almost, which is pretty extraordinary for a sidearm. The sidearm also, when you get kills with it, it gets stacks. So these stacks give it increased reload speed, better handling. But when you consume those stacks by holding the X button, it refills your grenade, melee, and whatever your class ability is.
Also, you can kill with the weapon and then use the buffs to refill your energy.
Yes, which is pretty cool. So in PvP, it's really good because you get one kill, 2 kills, and you can refill your grenades and your class ability right away.
That's why I don't like Destiny 2 PvP, because people got weapons like that, and I can't jump in, and it's a level playing field.
it's level to an extent.
I mean,
That doesn't mean it's level.
No, you're saying you can't jump in as a newbie and go up against that stuff.
No,
exactly.
Yeah, so you would have to spend time, acquiring your own stuff, and that's all Destiny is. Honestly, it's time. It's a game about spending time.
Yeah,
you
gotta love it.
I mean, I did say in the Discord earlier that I was finally just gonna come back because apparently, like this holiday season, like when Beyond Light comes out, in addition to the cross save stuff, which I got to check out like 2 weeks ago, which is really cool. Like you literally just load up the game wherever you have it because it's free to play now, and your save will just be there. That's dope. But in addition to that, they're adding cross play.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
Right. So remember how we used to like beef with like the PlayStation folks in their chat or whatever? Like we could totally have like a free for all Friday with just anyone who has Destiny, and it's free to play. Like that's how games should be, and I want to support that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think Xbox said it best where they want inclusive instead of exclusive, which I get. You want everybody to feel a part of that community, not just, okay, if I get this system, my buddy might have something else. We can't really play together. I feel like that brings more money to the pot, not take away money from it. Because if you have a system, you have PS4 and I have Xbox, and we want to play Call of Duty together, if we can't play together, we're probably not going to get it. But if we can play it together, we're both going to go out and buy it, and it's going to allow us to kind of play together. So I think that's a great market strategy for Destiny, especially to reinvigorate the community.
Like it's like your console of choice should be a lot like your phone of choice. Like it's based on your preference. Like the way they do their UI design, the way they, have certain services and stuff to you should just be to your liking, to your taste, like the way you want a thing to be, right?
Yeah,
Not
definitely.
You have to buy a whole thing because you can't get it anywhere else, which I guess is much easier for a company to do, to just lock people out of the thing versus actually try a little harder to pull people in when everything is a level playing field. So I get why the choice is there. I still think it's a bad one. Like it hurts consumers in general. But I think we'll talk a little bit more about that in the future. But what else were you playing, Jeff?
So right now, it's just trying to get stuff for Beyond Light. It's just leveling up, finishing some quests. They've kind of gone to a lot of exotic quests, where before they were like, here's some here and there. Now there's like a majority of them are through quest lines. So like I'm doing the Thorn one, and that one's taken forever. It's like get kills with void weapons and or hand cannons. So I'm using a hand cannon and a void weapon to kind of help make
So
up the difference.
hold on 1 second. Thorn
Hmm.
wasn't in Destiny 2?
I feel like it hasn't been in Destiny 2. I feel like it was in Destiny 1 and it came back in Destiny 2 maybe a couple
with
seasons
with
ago.
the moon and stuff? Is that what happened? Because I
I feel
remember,
like it did.
because I feel like there was a quest to get Thorn that we all did, and it required like a mission with on the moon. But since I know the moon wasn't in Destiny 2, it would
Destiny
make
1.
sense that yeah, like Thorn was gone. I completely forgot about it.
Yeah. Because they had a weapon that was supposed to be the
Mm,
good version of Thorn that has
Rose,
been in
yeah,
Road.
yeah, that
Exactly.
story actually really good. Destiny has really good lore. They just need to tell
It
that
does.
story.
But Thorn came back after Rose,
Wow.
if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken.
um.
Uh,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say the Thorn is definitely in Destiny 2, but
yeah, it's
that
in there.
okay. Yeah. The latest article that I saw about it was in August, so that's definitely super recent.
Like a new,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
okay, so that makes
Um.
sense. It's a new edition. They brought it back, which is dope because
Yeah.
that gun has some history.
That gun used to be crazy in PvP. It's just two shots, just that ticking damage was like, oh man. Um, yeah.
That's the
So,
stuff I'm talking about.
but what happens is you get killed with that weapon. You're like, what is that weapon? You find out what that weapon is. Oh, I want that weapon. Now you go. Now you
Hmm.
have a goal in
Right.
mind.
Yeah, I prefer that because it all used to just be luck of the draw. But
Yep.
you can look up an exotic, go and do the quest for it. Like it'll take you time to do it, but then there's a direct path to getting it as opposed to just waiting for it to drop, which is much
Exactly.
preferred, I think.
And I think there are some weapons that are really, really good, but there are also weapons that outbeat that. So obviously, if you have a SMG and it's mid range, you're gonna get beat at long range. You're gonna get beat at long range. If you have a shotgun, obviously you're close range. So you're gonna get beat at medium to long range. I run a sidearm build, so I was running a sidearm called Devil's Ruin, which is a sidearm. It's a solar sidearm. It has 15 bullets in the mag. When you hold the button instead of just tapping it, it charges up like a fusion rifle shot.
And that's an exotic.
That's an exotic. So that's actually my favorite exotic. Other people might be running, Thorn, obviously. Some people are running Non Hunger, which is a auto rifle, that's in the elemental slot that just rips through stuff. So there's a lot of different builds that people use that work. I mean, I play what I like, not necessarily what is meta or per se at the time. I play what feels good to me, what feels natural to me, and whatever. But aside from Destiny, I've been playing Hades. As soon as they announced that at the Nintendo Mini Direct, I went
Mm.
and got that. I've been watching that for a while, and I was so tempted to get it on Steam, but I'm like, you know what, no, because that feels like something I'd play better handheld. I'm just sitting watching TV and kind of want to play with it. I mean, it plays it has that same type of formula of Dead Cell? No,
Hmm.
is that Dead Cell? Yep, like
Yeah.
that Dark Souls feel where you
Uh,
die.
Roguelike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Roguelike.
So you go through different rooms. You meet these, you get help from these different Olympian gods that give you different buffs. Like Zeus's might have been, you can choose out of three, where your normal attack chains lightning to other enemies. When you dash, it shoots a thunderbolt at the section where you start from. There's Aphrodite, there's Hades. They give different buffs. So going through each room, you get buffs and you start to stack them up, and you have different weapons. Now, when you lose, you go all the way back to the beginning. You lose all those buffs, and you got to start from the beginning. Now it's a long game, so like obviously you're not going to beat it on your first couple of runs. So now you're just stacking. Um,
The permanent
you're
buffs.
exactly you're stacking your permanent buffs. You're getting your inventory up on currencies to purchase different things. You're unlocking different weapons. So like you start off with a sword. There's a bow. There's like knuckles you can use.
Hmm.
There's a spear. There's a few different weapons that you progressively unlock with keys. Now
Do they
the
feel
dialogue,
different, like in terms of like the combat?
They do. They feel very, very different. So like obviously the bow has like a charge shot. You can there's like a spread shot, and then so I'm using the fists now. The fists are really good, so they're very fast and mobile hits. So just the regular attack is just a couple strikes. The heavy attack is like an uppercut. Now, what you normally do is you can apply buffs to certain parts. So like the Aphrodite, the god of festival, I forget his name. He can give you a buff that allows you to apply drunk to an opponent. So when you
Okay,
hit them, they're drunk, they're
that's
dazed, they
funny.
don't know what to do. So it allows you to hit them again. So especially with my heavy attack, it like pretty much takes them out real quick. Um, you can also allow permanent buffs. So I got a permanent buff where when I die, I don't go back to the beginning. I come back with like half health. So which is almost an extra life. So it's really good. The dialogue is great. Each time you come back, the people in your hub have different things to say. So like if you don't know, the game is called Hades, but you're playing as Hades' son.
Hmm.
And he's like all he knows is the underworld. And he's like, you know what, I want to go outside. And Dad's like, nah, you can't go. This is where you belong. And you find out that he lied about who your mom is, stuff like that. But the Olympian's like, hey, you're our cousin. We want to help you get out. Like, we'll give you some help. Here's these buffs. Dad's like, don't trust them because they stuck me down here type situation.
Hmm.
And it's a funny game. Like you see ghosts, like the ghost of Achilles is guarding like a room for Hades. You see different people from Greek mythology show up. Um, there's like even like your sparring dummy where you could try different weapons on. Even he has dialogue where you could talk to him and he can tell you stuff about how to upgrade weapons and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Um, yeah, I mean, besides that, that's all I've been playing. Watching, I finished Dragon's Dogma.
Oh wow, how long is that?
Uh, I want to say like 10 episodes.
Okay, not too bad.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Um, I thought it was good. I felt like it dragged. I felt like it left a lot of things from the game out. I felt like the character was much more interested in the game as opposed to outside. I mean, his overall goal um, was just like what he wanted to do
Hmm.
and why he wanted to do it was just. Um, and there's a big like spin at the end. So it's like, yeah, you thought this was going this way, but guess what? No, 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 no.
I remember
So
hearing that there's sort of a twist ending to the game too. Like, did you finish the game? Because I didn't play it, but I read about it.
didn't finish the game. I played like halfway through, but
Mm.
I didn't really care for the combat, so kind of put me off. That's kind of what made me jump to playing Dragon Age, because that I favored the combat in Dragon Age as
Over
opposed
Dragon's
to
Dogma.
Dragon Dogma. Yeah.
Okay, so I
Um,
mean, I definitely want to check that out and see if maybe they mirror whatever that thing was in the game story, because that might be what happened. But yeah, I mean, it looked cool, and like Netflix has been doing well with the game adaptations so far. But you're saying this one was kind of a little middling.
it wasn't horrible. I give it like C minus. I
Yeah,
mean a
so like
B
kind of
minus.
middle of the road,
Yeah, B
like
minus C plus.
average.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's pretty much all I've been playing. Watching.
All right, I can go next. In terms of playing, I just finished up review. It'll probably go up sometime this week, hopefully before Tuesday, of a game that is called The Dungeon of Nahelbeck, colon, the Amulet of Chaos.
Why? Why the colon?
It's well because apparently this game is supposed to be in a series of games referring to this dungeon. Like this dungeon is supposed to be like a setting, and then there's like a bunch of events that take place in the dungeon, right?
Okay.
So, but as far as I know, this is the first game from this series that's coming. But it's a turn-based tactics game. It's a fantasy setting, as you can probably tell from the title. And unlike a lot of turn-based tactics games, you get to control the entire party running physically through the dungeon and stuff. So like you'll go from room to room, you'll like visit people, talk to shops and whatnot, and then if you reach like a quest area that has something you're looking for, you'll probably trigger a fight, and then you'll go into the turn-based tactics gameplay or whatever. So the premise, I like what they were going for. Like, it's supposed to be more of a lighthearted take. Like, if you were to look at the screenshots or the actual video of the game, the art style is like very cartoony, like a Looney Tunes ish even. Or matter of fact, no, a better way to describe it is like if you ever seen like some of those CG ads for like those mobile games like Clash of Clans, or it looks like that. Like the characters look like they're from a big, not a big budget, but a high paying mobile game or something. But I mean, not to say that it's bad in terms of how it looks. It's just it has that style. But they're very expressive. Like they have like facial expressions and like a lot of movements in their animations. Like when people talk, you can see everyone turn their head to look at them and like make faces or whatever. So they put a lot of effort into the way everyone looks and is designed. The voice acting is really good. Everyone sounds convincing. So I would say like the quality level is there on one half, but I just didn't like the writing. Like they sound like they were really going for we're being meta, we're being flippant, we're being naughty, we're being adult. So like there are like F-bombs thrown every other sentence. They do at least bleep it. Like you'll see like the stars in the text, but they'll
keywords.
Yeah, like they're just it just seemed unnecessary. Like you guys are going for like this lighthearted tone and whatnot, but at the same time you're cursing every other sentence, and a lot of the female characters,
And you're censoring it.
Yeah, you're sort of censoring it because you're clearly not really at that level. But a lot of female characters in the game, you'll notice, are like unnecessarily like busty or sexy. Yeah, like they're like in skimpy outfits and stuff like that. So like there's like like innuendo and things like that just feels out of place from everything else that's going on. So it really just rubbed me the wrong way, and I kind of started putting me off. But outside of that, no, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say, just looking at these pictures, it feels like the designer never grew up, really. Because
it's very immature. Like it's like an old style. Like this is a game that you'd see in like a Game Pro magazine in like the 2000s or something. Like that's kind of the feel of it. So like it doesn't come across well in terms of the tone. But with that being said, the actual gameplay isn't bad. The turn-based tactics is like a mix of like XCOM and Final Fantasy Tactics. So like the people who have ranged attacks, like wizards and archers, they can make better use of like cover, like, and then they'll take their shots, they'll get aim from other people who are like shooting at them. But everybody else is pretty much melee focused. So like they'll get right up in each other's face. You have to worry about which direction you're facing so you don't get like backstabbed or flanked and stuff like that, which I liked. But everything is undermined by the idea that your group is cursed by this amulet of chaos. It's part of the story. Like you guys go in that dungeon to do a thing, but somebody messes up and triggers this amulet, which now brings your group misfortune. So you're doing a match, right? And out of nowhere, you're right next to somebody. You have like a 90 or something % chance of hitting them with whatever your attacking has, but it'll say critical failure all of a sudden, and now you get hurt, or you knock yourself unconscious. Or like just bad stuff will just happen to your team super randomly. And like the game's not, super difficult, but some of the fights can take a while to get through. And when the game is actively kind of like just punishing you like out of nowhere, like it's not like there's like some kind of meter or like there's some kind of threshold where it's like
random, right?
Yeah, it's completely random that they'll just screw you.
You know what? I actually like that.
You like that?
Because that simulates D&D. Sometimes you next to somebody and you roll a 1 and things like that happen. No matter what your buffs are, sometimes you roll a 1.
And I'm glad you said that as a person who actually plays D&D, because that's exactly the feel that I think they're going for. Like even with the dialogue, like I think, and I didn't get through the game because of some other issues that I'm gonna bring up in a second, but I think they're going for like the reality of the situation is this is a group of friends playing D&D. Like that's what I think is going on here. I don't have that confirmed.
I feel like it's a difference between what you're saying and what happens in D&D. In D&D, you make checks for things. So like, a rock might fall and you gotta make a luck check or agility check. So you roll that dice. What you're saying is random stuff just happens for no reason. Like you just fall or
Well, I mean, you're trying to do something. You're trying to like attack somebody, and it's like, okay, you critically failed that attack. So even though all the other parameters were okay, like you have, the good position, you have high percentage chance to hit, it's not that you miss the attack, it's that you completely
roll the
hurt.
one.
Yeah, like you hurt yourself completely.
But D&D also has stuff that, so like you might have a 15 in strength, so it goes into your rolls, which
But
makes
the
it
fact is, in D&D, no matter what your parameters are, if you roll a 1, it's a critical fail. No matter what kind of buffs you
oh yeah,
got.
on attack, yeah.
Yeah,
But he's
so
saying it
that's
just randomly happens. There's not like a roll or something like that. It's just
well,
I mean,
he doesn't see the
not that I'm
That's
aware
what I'm
of.
saying.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
so that is probably exactly what they're doing is mimicking D&D. But I don't know, like it doesn't sit well with me as a tactics game fan who wants to apply my strategy and see it come to fruition. Like I get that you're taking a chance when you're dealing with percentage and you could, miss an attack and whatnot, but I need some way to know that if I were to try this, it could be a critical failure for certain situations. Because like some things should just be a sure shot because you planned it that way.
Yeah, but that's not how life goes. And that's not how the dice goes.
Well, I guess, but even so, I couldn't even reach the end of the game because there were so many like little bugs and then much bigger bugs that stopped me from playing dead in its tracks.
Oh, that's terrible.
Like you could see in like item descriptions or like certain characters just wouldn't be named. Like it would say like char underscore name underscore
Oh
elf
no.
shopkeeper, like stuff like it was a title from like a file name instead of the actual name. And
It
like
was
this
undone.
this kind of stuff would happen all over the place, like in random books that you would read or like people you would talk to, item stores and whatnot. So in certain instances it didn't matter because you could tell what the thing was anyway. But in one instance, like there was a puzzle where like the clue to how to solve it is in a book that's nearby, and all the text in the book said was clue, like underscore puzzle. That like so like what that doesn't tell me anything. I don't know how to solve this puzzle.
When you first described this, I was like, okay, maybe they're like making a joke about lazy DMs not making all the names for NPCs and stuff like that.
I mean, I wouldn't put
But
it
yeah,
past them, but
but
this doesn't.
that clue thing is
Like
way,
this kind of
way over the line. That's
hinders
not even funny.
the entire progress. But then I came into another bug when I was doing a side quest. I was trying to get to this. I was trying to get to a shop, and a bunch of people ambush you before you get to the shop. So I finished the fight, and the guy talks to us or whatever while he's down on the floor to like end the sequence, and then I try to continue on into the shop. But the game stops me. They turn me around to the same guy who was just talking after we defeated him, and then he's saying the stuff he said when we first showed up, saying like, "Oh, here are these people. We need to attack them." And of course, nothing happens because I've already defeated them. So it's a loop. If I try to go into the shop, the guy starts his dialogue over, and there was nothing I could do. I turned the game off, turned it back on, like I reloaded a different save. I did the fight over again. Bugged. I just couldn't enter that shop, and so I also couldn't enter that quest. And also that shop is maybe like the halfway point on that floor of the dungeon. So I was essentially locked out of that half of the dungeon from that direction at least. I think there was maybe a back way, but I didn't bother to check for it because before I could even bother, I started going down the main story pathway and got into a fight where the enemies, and this happens in some turn-based tactics games, where like the enemy will take a really long time to figure out what they want to do. Like the turn will end and then you'll sit on that screen for a while before it continues on.
And they're calculating.
Yes. The game never came out of that loop. Like they did their attack and then the guy was just standing there. And so like I'm hitting the button to fast forward it as you can do in some of these games and just nothing ever happens. Like I weighed my controller down on the space bar and like left to do something else just to see if it would finish because this was a main story thing. Came back like maybe 10, 15 minutes later, same thing. Reloaded the save. Oh,
So
say again?
he was stalling. That was his
He was
move.
stalling. I mean, they were winning anyway.
I will say like one thing I love in a and this is like not even that serious, but what I love in tactics games is when I finish my turn and I see the enemy like loading up, I'm like, yeah, you really have to think about that, didn't you, computer? You didn't see that one coming, did you? That's how it feels like. But that seems excessive what you got going.
Was this a beta or was this like
No,
a
like
finish?
this is the and I did ask that question to my editor in chief after like are they playing like a day one patch or anything? And what he told me was the only thing they've said about it is gamepad controls aren't enabled yet, which was something that I had to overlook because I had to play it with a mouse and keyboard. So that's apparently coming day one, and that some of the language stuff wasn't finished yet. So like on the pause screen, to go back out, like it would be in French rather than it would say return or whatever. So, I mean, that was really the only place I really noticed the language thing. But apparently that was going to be addressed. But they said nothing about missing text, nothing about broken quests, nothing about the AI stalling indefinitely. Also, the game crashed like 3 times, so that was a whole other thing. So like at that point, it was just like after I got stuck in that loop, like I tried to reload the save, went through the same actions, like I tried to recreate the exact situation, and again paused in that exact same way. I was like, I'm done. Like there's nothing else to see here. They need to fix this. So that was pretty much it, I think, for what I've been playing. But I don't know. The game would be fine if it wasn't broken. That's how I feel about it. Like I wouldn't have. I don't like the randomness, but like Blue was saying, like that is a thing in D&D. Like it doesn't stop the game from continuing and being fun. I don't like
just
the
annoying.
humor, but again, that could be just to my taste. Other people might find that endearing and whatnot. So like nothing that's there is inherently bad, other than the fact that it's very unpolished in those aspects. So that's just disappointing.
Seems very rough around the edges.
Yeah, so that's it for what I've been playing. In terms of watching, though, I did finish JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind. I was a little lukewarm on it early on, but it's very much a JoJo show. Like it gets super ridiculous near the end. Like those guys are
That
very
last fight
endearing.
was crazy.
Yes, like the whole situation was just out of control.
Like the one with the poisonous gas. I
Well,
forget her name.
Fugo was his name.
Yeah.
But that guy, I don't want to spoil anything, but he I thought his stand was actually really whack. And I feel like the show thought so too, because at some point you just don't see him anymore. And he's one of the main people in the team. So I thought that was kind of funny that they kind of replace him as well. But either way, like I really think it picks up in like that second half. Has a really dope ending, has a really cool villain, Diavolo, and the way he gets taken down is very
Crazy.
classic anime. Like it's the kind of anime ending that you expect for like a villain who's as bad as him, because he does some really bad stuff that I won't spoil. So I really enjoyed that. Started up Mob Psycho 100 Season 2 because it was a show that I started forever ago, and then I stopped because the episodes weren't loading or whatever, so I like took a break. But started that back up. Mob Psycho is freaking fantastic. Like,
Man, I've been trying to watch that show for the longest time. It's hard for me to get through the first episode.
Really?
It's boring to me, man.
I'll give
really
you that. I'll give you
boring.
that. There are some down moments, and I feel like that's intentional.
From the get-go?
Yes, because they really. The thing is, Mob is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
But he doesn't necessarily want to be, which is a theme for the mangaka One, the guy who made One Punch Man, right? Like that's kind of his thing. He's
That's
like,
what I was gonna say, because it gives you that same feel, like
Right.
Kind of like
all
Psyche K.
powerful. Yeah, like he's all powerful, but they do a good job at not having him be all encompassing.
yeah, like
he's
the point of it isn't
Yeah.
him getting stronger. Like he's already strong. The point is what he's doing, being at this level and with everyone around him kind of struggling to get a power like his. So
Same thing with Saitama. And,
Right, exactly.
Genesis, yeah,
so like
And Psyche K, too.
yeah, I've heard of that show, and I do think I want to check that out. But that's like a comedy or something, right?
That's much more comedic, yeah.
I mean, there's funny stuff in Mob Psycho.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead.
yeah, basically like what endears me to Mob as a character is that he takes pleasure, or like not pleasure, but like what he's seeking, like what he wants to get better at are the things that he's lacking. Like he's so much more powerful than everybody else at psychic ability, but like in terms of physical strength, in terms of confidence, in terms of like all these things that everyone else around him, like he's jealous of them for that, while they're jealous of him for his psychic power. So like he's trying to do things that a normal kid would if they were trying to improve themselves. Like he joined like a club for the body improvement team and whatnot. Like he's like I just really like that angle. But at the same time, because he's so powerful as a psychic, when other psychics, step to him, he's reluctant, but it's like this situation is just way out of control. And the way they animate it, oh, bless you.
Thank you.
But the way they animate it, no, I didn't hear it, but I could see.
Oh, okay.
But the way they animate it is like, if you guys watched the My Hero Academia movie, at least the first one, that ending sequence with All Might and Deku like doing the tag team punch to the big guy and this guy, that's how almost all of the fights in Mob Psycho go. Like, they throw everything they have at their animation team for those sequences. Like, it's some of the best looking anime fight stuff I've ever seen. It's so good.
I can't wait for you to watch God of High School.
Definitely, yeah.
I'm gonna check that out.
It gives you that same feel, like that hyper sense, like your senses are hypened at that during that fight. Like everything just pulsates. Like same like Mob Psycho. I gave you a good comparison. That fight when he had the guy by his face with that bully in the alley, and you get that same burst of colors and stuff like that during like Jin's fights and stuff like that. So it really makes everything pop, and it does such a good comparison to what the normal animation is to when they're
right. It's like those down moments, those boring, those mundane moments are there to have you endear to the character so that you understand when things go haywire. Because like that's the whole premise. Like he's always trying to keep his power in check, and then when his emotions let loose, it's like the world is breaking. Like it goes from like -20 to like 30,000. Like the range is like so insane. Like, and I absolutely love it. Like they really play with that dynamic really well. So I'm enjoying that. I think I may have got through 2/3 of it so far. I don't think there's too much left, but that show is fantastic. Definitely check it out if you haven't. But I think that's pretty much it for me. Blue, what do you have?
So, the theme of the week for me was kind of blowing off dust. I picked up some of my old games, updated them, see what they was looking like today. Division 2 was one of them. I'm still, I think it's the same thing with Destiny for me, where I love the combat, but the story just doesn't slap for me. And this, yeah. The Division 2 story is damn near non-existent. Now, this isn't the same as Destiny 2, but Division 2, the UI is nice, but the pathfinding system is absolutely terrible. When they tell you to go from one objective to the next, and it hasn't changed. I don't even want to look at the raid because we tried it once and it was the worst.
It was pretty
the worst
bad.
raid I've ever been a part of, and not because of the players, right?
No, it was really badly balanced. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, there's that. They did put some new levels in. I actually streamed one of the levels. It was the zoo level, which I actually thought was really cool. You got to see like huge octopus. You saw alligators, antelope, monkeys, all kinds of cool stuff in there. I was upset that we couldn't. Like the fights were still exactly the same. Where it's just one room, enemies. All right, they're done. Next room, enemies. And there's like things in between that are very boring, or they're just hallways. So yeah, Division 2 still hasn't impressed me there. But I will say, my motivation for playing on that recently was trying to unlock some of the classes that the specializations that weren't available before. And so that's kind of cool to have an objective like, okay, you got to kill these kind of enemies in certain ways. It's difficult, don't get me wrong, but I think these challenges are still not exciting or innovative.
All right, so it's not really pulling you back in, making the case.
I definitely thought about buying the DLC. It's like half off right now in the Ubisoft store. It's only $15.
It's like
which is
back to New York or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, why do I want to go back to the first game? Like, there's more than 2 cities in the U.S., And at the same time, I'm still not 100% on board with Make America Great Again. Like, that's basically the whole premise of Div 2. Let's put back the whole system that we had before. As a black man, I'm not trying to restore the previous America. I'm gonna be honest. So the whole game is controversial for me anyway. But next was Anthem. I blew off some dust off of Anthem. Uh, Again, I love the combat. I love the movement. Just not enough content. Not enough interesting content.
I know they're supposed to be doing a complete rework of it from the ground up.
They've been saying
Supposedly.
that for how long now?
Yeah, they've been
Uh,
pretty quiet on it since they
yeah,
announced that it was coming.
they had an update in August said it should be coming, but they were like I said they said it was going to take a little bit because they were doing a complete rework of it.
I remember them saying that last year sometime. I'm not saying these things take a week. I'm not saying that, but yeah, hearing no news about it isn't helping my confidence in it anyway. But yeah, there's some cool. They unlocked a lot more things for your customization, so I got some cool decals. I updated my look. You guys know that's important to me.
It's like
And
half the
then
playtime right there.
real talk though, because if you don't like your character, why are you playing? You know what I mean? Um, they have this racing time trial thing that I thought was like, yo, really? That's the new world event you could give us. You start on a platform, other people can join in on a set time, and then you fly through. You have to hit all these checkpoints, and
Uh,
there's obstacles in the way and stuff. Man, the races, the time trials were long as heck. Like that thing took forever to get through. I didn't even want to finish it by the time I was done. Secondly, you don't get nothing for it, so it's just like I wasted a whole bunch of time
Wow,
and stress.
yeah.
that's
So thanks,
disappointing.
Anthem.
So I mean,
Yeah.
how do you know how recent that stuff is? Because that's newer than when you guys left, right?
Oh yeah, it's definitely newer than when we left. I don't know when that update dropped, but I played that like Friday, I think it was
Mm.
Thursday or Friday. So that's what's out right now.
Yeah, I'm wondering if
Um,
those are just kind of stopgaps or
Well,
like distractions while they are working on whatever this rework is. Because honestly, if the best possible time for them to drop a new version of this game is probably around when EA Play All, gets added to Xbox's Game Pass.
yeah,
Because
very
there's going
true.
to be a
Yeah.
bunch of people who probably have access to it and will want to check out a new version of Anthem or just check out Anthem period because it's there
Yeah.
now. Like they have
I
to hit that
remember.
mark. They have
There's a
I
a
lot.
remember.
chance at a second
There's a
second shot
lot they
here.
need to do. They need to rework the enemies. The enemies are too like plain. There's no
I
really
thought that too,
difference
yeah.
between them. There's like, oh, you're fighting the same people. Even with the different enemy types, there's still like, there's nothing unique about them. When I play Diablo or something, there's like,
These
bosses.
guys are
Bosses.
completely immune to this.
Yeah, they
I have to
stand
play
out.
differently. Yeah.
Yes, there's mobs that do different things. There's the enemies have personality. I even feel like in Anthem, they don't even stick out from the screen. There's nothing that
Like they just blend like
they're
they're
like
a
playing
bunch
with
of
They
chameleons.
all little green army men. You just move. That's it.
so I streamed Division 2, right? I did the zoo level because I thought that was interesting. I wanted to stream Anthem too. Anthem as well, excuse me. Um but like I didn't see anything that was challenging or fun. So I didn't. You know what I mean? Like every enemy I came across. I went to free play, I started doing some world stuff. Every enemy I came across died in one or two hits. It was annoying. And I know I'm not like max geared out or nothing like that. That's another part about it. I know I'm not a god mode javelin, but the fact that I looked like it and I felt like it was stupid. Like why would I want more in the game,
That you might actually have to change the difficulty because when you do go out, you can change the difficulty each time, and kind of like with most games, higher difficulty, better drop rate, stuff like that. But the enemies do
Yeah.
get progressively harder because I think I forgot what the difficulties were, what they were called, but I was up to like at least the third one,
It was
and
like
when
mastery or something like that.
yeah. And when you went out, you did notice a difference in how strong they were compared to the last difficulty rank.
But like strong in terms of what, like
Even
soaking up more
just
bullets
more
and
health. That's exactly what it's
Yeah,
doing.
doing more
definitely
damage to you.
more health and they do more damage. And
Maybe
some are
AI intelligence goes up a little bit,
yeah,
maybe to dodge my
some
attacks, but
some are armored, some have more armor, stuff like that. But nothing like any different mechanics. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
and
oh, this
that's
one.
probably the main issue is that the fights aren't fun because it's literally point and shoot.
Yeah. Next game I brushed off was Sword Art Online. And I actually had fun with that. At the time I was playing, I didn't have time to stream, but they added a new mode that's kind of is similar to not battle royale, but it's got an element from battle royale. They throw you into this dungeon, you have no gear on you, and you just have to. I think you have like one random weapon that they give you, and then you have to fight your way through this dungeon, picking up gear and armor and stuff like that. And your squad is with you, but it's the same kind of thing. Like they all have to equip up in there, going through this whole dungeon. I didn't get to finish it because I ran out of time, but it was actually refreshing to kind of in this small part of the game rebuild my character and see what I can really do from the ground up. So of all the games that I dusted off, I was the most impressed with Sword Art Online. So that was pretty cool.
That's interesting that they're still updating that because it's like it's an anime tie-in game, but it seems like they actually put some effort into it for a change.
I
There's a
had a
newer
lot of
one
fun
come
with
out
it.
since then too. Was it for the new?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like, man, I'm not even gonna start getting into Sword Art Online because I'm not gonna start, right? I just said that. So, but yeah, with Sword Art Online, I played that with Mr. Gamer, and we got some pretty interesting co-op missions done. The cool thing about the co-op missions is that you go in there with your full team. So that means you got you, your assistant, and then the two other friends that you pick up. So you're looking at 8 people on the screen between two folks, and you're guiding your squad. So it's not like a lot of games where only in the single player mode you got these extra people. You're always bringing your folks with you, which is super cool. And I can imagine with more people linking up, I think the room can hold four. It's either between 4 or 6 people for co-op stuff. I can imagine how huge these rooms are gonna look and how much control you have over your squad. I think that'd be super cool. But let's talk about what I've been watching. I actually, for the first time, watched a really funny and um, yeah, a really funny movie called The Birdcage. It's old, late '90s. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Robin Williams, Nathan Lane.
Hmm.
Um, apparently this is a huge movie in the LGBTQ community. But when I tell you, my girlfriend said it before we started watching it because she's seen it before. She said Nathan Lane was built for this role. I was like, what? Yo, this movie's funny as hell. It's about Robin Williams and Nathan Lane are a gay couple. They have a son, a young son who wants to get married to the daughter of a senator who's very super right wing Republican. Okay, and he's up. He has some scandal going on. He's up for re-election, so he's using this wedding as kind of
Publicity.
publicity to say, hey, look, we're all good. We have a big happy family. Da da da. So the son goes back to Robin Williams and Nathan Lane, who not only are they just gay, they're rich gay. They own a huge drag queen club called the Birdcage in South Beach, Florida. Man, he comes back and he's like, "Yo, you guys can't be gay around around the father-in-law." And obviously, I'm paraphrasing, right? There's a lot of Robin Williams is brilliant, but between the two, Robin Williams is the level-headed partner, and Nathan Lane is the eccentric, the most flamboyant gay man on the screen, and he is just so funny. Oh my god, you guys have to check it out.
I think
It's
where'd you watch it
hilarious.
at? Is it on like Netflix or something?
Oh man, we watched it on. I want to say Hulu. I
Okay.
want to say it was Hulu. It might be. It wasn't HBO Max. I want to say it was Hulu. Um, it's either on Hulu or HBO Max. I can double check for you in a little bit. But the Birdcage, funny as hell.
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
There you go. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I'll probably check that out.
yeah, yeah. It's great. Now, granted, it's funny how it kind of how we see this movie today because there's a lot of toxic verbiage that goes around.
Mm.
However, I think the moral of the story still holds today, which you can't say that a lot about 80s, 90s comedies all the
Yeah.
time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
I love Eddie Murphy. I love Richard Pryor. It's those two, especially even Gene Wilder. All three of those 90% of their movies are toxic. They send bad messages. They're funny, and at the time, it was accepted. You get it, right? Um, this one I think still holds water with the overall lesson that they try to.
Cool.
But anyway, on top of that, the last one I've been watching, and I've been watching Hoops. Have y'all heard or seen it on Netflix?
Mm-hmm. I've seen
Jake
Wait,
Johnson.
what is that?
It's
an
a
animated.
adult cartoon.
Yeah.
It's in the similar.
Okay.
It's in this.
Now I know what you're talking about.
It's in the similar vein as Paradise PD,
Yeah, which is
Big
terrible.
Mouth.
Not.
They're
I would
they're
not
trash
say.
TV.
I would not say Big Mouth and Paradise PD in the same breath, because Big Mouth is very risque,
I like
but
yeah,
they do have a message.
much more well written.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
it's funny. They're telling you some information. Like it's going about it in a very brash way. Whereas Paradise PD is like the worst version of like a Sunday morning shock jock on the radio who's just trying to get noticed by just doing the most outlandish stuff you can think of. There's no substance.
I
in
hear
that.
what you're saying. I will agree. Big Mouth definitely has more substance than both of these shows. 100%. The only reason why I put it in there because I believe it's straight to streaming adult animation. That's kind of what people see it as, where I see it as.
Mhm.
But anyway, Hoops is the main character, Jake Johnson. You might recognize him from New Girl. He's kind of the guy with the scratchy voice, with the short brown hair, white guy.
Nick.
Anyway, he plays this. Yeah, Nick. There you go.
Okay.
He plays a jerk high school coach.
Okay.
And when I say jerk, I mean like excessively cursing. You don't want this guy anywhere near your kids, but he's the only coach they got in Kentucky, in this area. His dad is a pro basketball player. He is absolutely terrible. His kids are the worst. The kids that are on the team just want to be on the team because they suck and they can just waste time. So they're not even interested. You find out very early on in the first season, he and his wife are going through a divorce. They're not divorced yet, but she's dating his friend who's also a teacher at the school.
Of course.
And they're actually super cool. so, so a lot of times you see these guys team up and they both like, okay, we're going to go do this for my wife and my girlfriend. Well, your girlfriend, my wife. They gotta. It's weird.
Stupid.
This show is in general. I'd probably give it the highest I'll ever give it is a 7 in my opinion.
I mean,
they're even
7's
trying to
not-
go steers right now.
7's good.
And I think it's a 7 just because it's what I needed at the time. It's not because the writing was amazing. It was just new trash TV that was relatively interesting.
I mean, yeah, you need those kind of shows every now and then.
And I'm starting to look at this this new voice actor. He was in the Harley Quinn show. Ron Funches.
Ron Funches. Yeah, he's a comedian.
Funches, yeah, he's hilarious.
He's
and
actually very funny.
Yeah, I love how pleasant his voice sounds, and so he can just change. He can change the tone just by his verbiage. Just what he's saying, because it's always the same. It's always the same actual sound you're hearing from him, but I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Watch Harley Quinn. See how savage he is as King. Was it King Shark?
I think it's King
Is that his
Shark.
name now?
Yeah.
Yeah. See how savage he is in that, and how sweet he is. It's a switch. It's a switch.
Yeah, like his voice
Um,
does that very well. Like, 'cause I think that's his his
Yeah.
actual speaking voice for the most part too. Like, he's not doing
I
a
believe
voice.
so. It's wonderful. They have another one thing I will say about this show, and I think this is probably why I give it a 7. I like the way that they put black people in the show. There's one black guy on the team, right? He's not the best on the team. He's actually super sweet. Like, he's damn near perfect, and everybody else hates him because he's perfect. It's really funny. And I won't get too far into it, but there's one episode they're talking about dad issues. Everybody, including him, the coach, has dad issues, and they're like, okay, we're gonna use that on the court today. When you go out there and you see the defender, imagine your dad's head, and like, F you, dad. Da, da, da. And so now, yeah, the black kid's like, well, actually, I like my parents, and they're like, man, F you, get out of here. He's like, well, it was appreciate me night today at home, so I guess this kind of works out. Thanks, coach. Take a lap. All right, I should get some cardio in right before I go home. You're right. Like he's just super pleasant, and honestly, it's kind of refreshing to see a non like broken home from a person of color. Not just that, he's just super happy. And it's good to see Black Boy joy. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
Anyway, yeah, it's worth a watch. I wouldn't say it's gonna be the best show you're gonna watch this year by any means, but I think it's worth the time.
All right.
Yeah.
Does that wrap things up for what you've been watching?
That's basically it. Yeah.
All right. So with that, we're gonna move on to Blues News, which is our Super Smash Sunday recap, brought to you by Blue. Take it away, Blue.
That's me. So Super Smash Sundays this week was pretty good. Excuse me. We had change in power a couple times. Fresh started off with Pit on a really good run. We came up with the phrase "that boy got wings." We were saying that quite a bit. Sigma kind of, I wouldn't say debuted, but he played more of his Richter, and we saw a nice run from that. Emissary, of course, came through with the Ice Climbers, and Wreck. He probably had the longest run of the Super Smash Sunday. Now, I wouldn't even call it an upset, but I would say what was surprising was Emissary and, oh my gosh, Kadu actually used Twitch channel points to have Sigma and myself change to Donkey Kong on our next loss. Yeah. Now, I got wiped right away. Normally when these things happen, I'm not familiar with the character. I do my best. I got knocked out against Sigma's DK, actually, so we both went head-to-head. But Sigma went on a pretty good run as DK, and it feels like they kind of created a monster. You said before that
DK's not bad. He was my favorite heavy.
If you're going to play any... Yeah, that's your favorite heavy. So we definitely saw what you can do just without not a lot of practice on DK. That was awesome. I want to say, and this is going to be a little self-hype. At the end of the stream, we got one more request to play Villager, and I did that against Terrence's Mewtwo. And I feel like I held a much better fight than we were all expecting.
Right, yeah, your Villager was not bad.
It was a pretty good way to end. It was a pretty good way, I think, to end the stream. I did come up with the loss, but it wasn't by much. So, yeah, that's basically the Super Smash recap of the... Looking forward to more this week.
Awesome.
Thank you. So with that, we're going to move into our quick updates. Jeff, what are we updating folks on this week?
So the U.S. will be banning WeChat and TikTok downloads on Sunday.
TikTok?
Say TikTok? No more fresh breath.
No more fresh.
All the halitosis.
I was about to say, give America halitosis again.
But
the Commerce Department plans to restrict access to TikTok and WeChat on Sunday as the Trump administration executive orders against the two apps are set to take effect.
So what's funny is that happened earlier in the week, and I want to say 15 minutes before we started recording, there was another CNN update, which is the second story.
Yep.
One, I think you said a judge blocked Trump's motion.
Yes.
to do such. So that's going to be interesting.
Because I mean, we talked about this a tiny bit just before we started recording because this news just came in. Like, the fact that Trump is attacking TikTok and WeChat, like these are companies that have a big foothold in a social media in America, but are owned by Chinese conglomerates, right? It's kind of a dig at just China in general. Because I know, Jeff, you brought up the article about how this could lead to them kind of going after companies like Epic and Riot, because Tencent has, big stakes in them. They also have little stakes in a bunch of other companies. They own like a negligible amount in Ubisoft, for example. Call of Duty. They handle like the Chinese mobile version, and Activision and whatnot. So like they have hands in all sorts of pots. Whatever Trump is planning, it's to target China, but retroactively, it's probably going to target a lot of the video game landscape because Tencent just happens to invest a lot in games.
which it did before with the whole trade war he had going on that made China. We had goods coming from China being taxed extra because of the whole situation with the trading issue he was having with China, which we haven't had before. So I'm interested to see what happens after the election because Biden seems to be more pro China than
I mean, would you even call it pro China as opposed to
not
just
really pro, but
anti?
not
Because yeah, it's like
yeah, not anti.
it's like he has a vendetta, and I don't know what his personal relationship with China is, but I feel like Russia probably doesn't like China as an entity because China is probably much closer to becoming a world superpower than Russia is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know maybe why the U.S. president would have interests aligned with Russia, but that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, and the thing was, it was like I remember there was a comment that was made that he said, "Oh, before past presidents let China do whatever they want. I'm not having that kind of situation where I'm here now." So, and I think that kind of is what some of the issue is. So hopefully, we see how the election turns out and see how much of a reverse course this is. I mean, because we could say the judge, after the judge stalls it, how long is this going to last? But unfortunately, we should be good in November.
Should be.
Should be.
Don't know if we will be.
Let's see.
But so luckily, the kiddies and the fans, your TikTok is safe for now. But
the thing is, right? If you read the article, it wasn't that like the apps were gonna be taken off of phones and stuff like that. You just weren't gonna be able to update them.
Yeah,
but isn't that the same thing almost?
Well, the services would still be up for sure, and granted, it would slow down the app's progress for sure. But even if Trump's edict went through, we would still be able to use TikTok and WeChat today and for a while.
No, I mean you're right. Like, it's not a ban in the sense that it disappears from your phone, but that's really only because it's really only because they have no way of doing that to you. Like they couldn't remove it themselves. But
I feel like when a lot of people hear ban, they feel like if they open TikTok, it's illegal. You know what I mean?
But I do want to say, like, in a sense, it does cut you off from the service because you're gonna have whatever the oldest version is. As more time goes on, it'll update. Things will change.
Oh, yeah.
Like imagine having like last year's version of Facebook or Twitter or whatever. Like stuff probably just won't work anymore. Like at some point, you literally won't have the app. So
no, I hear what you're saying.
But we're gonna move on to our regular topics. First up, another kind of short, quick thing. Animaniacs, the beloved animated show, kind of variety show, apparently is coming back. They released like a sneak peek trailer. They showed like some line drawings and the voice actors kind of talking about some meta stuff about them coming back on their first episode, which is really cool. I don't know about you guys, but I was like a super big Animaniacs fan. I honestly think it's probably one of the best cartoons ever created, like just period, like comedy cartoons. Like Batman animated series is probably one of the best action cartoons, for example, but Animaniacs is a very special piece of media. Like Pinky and the Brain came out of that, like
which is also coming back.
Yes, I think everything that was in Animaniacs is all coming back together.
Yeah, I feel like the best part of Animaniacs was Pinky and the Brain. I feel like I didn't really care for Wacko,
Yakko, and Dot.
Yeah, I didn't really care for them. It was more about
my bad,
Pinky
Jeff. We're getting the.
Oh, my bad. You are?
Yeah, the electricity thing. What is that? Is like your phone like vibrating or someone's calling?
No, it was just over here in the box. I'm just gonna take it away from the box and put it over here. Okay, so I'll pick it back up from there. Yeah, I mean, I really didn't care for the Animaniacs as opposed to, mostly just like Pinky and the Brain. There was the girl with the dog, the baby with the dog.
Oh my gosh!
And like she would call her mom lady. Like,
yeah.
Don't call me lady. Okay, lady.
Okay, lady. I love you. Bye bye. There's so much stuff from that show that I remember. Like,
do y'all remember the pigeons?
Yes, the Goodfeathers. Yeah. That was one of my favorite sketches as well. Like, it was like a play on the Godfathers, or Goodfellas rather.
Goodfellas, yeah.
Like it was like, and that's the thing. Like that whole show was just full of just references to like pop culture, to cinema. Like it was people who really loved film, like parodying the crap
It
out
was
of it.
WB.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like people
WB
forget
was
that this is
at its
Warner
peak back
Brothers.
then. Yeah, back then they were. To me, I feel like as far as WB goes, I feel like they were at their peak as far as TV goes back then in the 90s.
There was also a spin-off show called Hysteria, if you guys remember that. It was very much like Animaniacs. I think it had a lot of the same producers, voice actors, artists, and musicians and whatnot. But it actually played the whole parody game with history. Like they like talked about like, you know, past wars and like biblical situations and stuff. So like I was actually all in for that as well. But I don't think that played as well as just the purely comical satire thing. So I don't think it was very long lived, but that was also a fantastic show that I would love to see come back in some form.
I feel like Animaniacs was a easily digestible version of Saturday Night Live, or
yes, like
it's
a kid, like a kid
show.
friendly. I mean,
like
all that was kind of that in terms of sketch comedy, but this
like,
was definitely at a higher, if not equal level to like some of the best seasons of Saturday Night Live.
Like I said, Mad TV did that, but it was more of their version was more adult, with play on certain celebrities and.
I mean, there was some stuff in there that they kind of got away with in Animaniacs.
Yeah.
Like they would slip in like an adult thing.
Over. Yeah.
Yeah, like that show was really really smart. But man,
one of the things I'm most excited about, and just like you said before, the original voice actors are coming back. Rob Paulson is an amazing voice actor. He's done countless roles. If you go to his Wikipedia, or not Wikipedia, IMDb, either one, yeah, a list, just pages of roles that he's played. I actually got to meet him in person a couple of years ago when I went to Comic-Con, and he's just the sweetest dude. At least to the fans right there, and it's cool to see our old school voices coming back, and I'm excited to see updated jokes. That's what I'm excited to see. You know what I mean? Some people try it. For example, Scoob, right? They tried that whole IKEA joke, and they're like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, right? I don't think Scoob worked. I feel like these guys have the chops to make it work.
Like if they have that same team involved, like maybe they do have some newer diverse people as well who have maybe had some some comedy work and writing and stuff. I really think it could be special again. Like, at least I hope so, because like Animaniacs is it's such an incredible show.
Yeah,
like I'll watch it. Matter of fact, can you watch Animaniacs today? Is it on like any of these streaming services somewhere?
Maybe the CW app or something.
Ugh.
Yeah,
So
but like
no,
who
you
has
can't
that?
watch it anywhere.
Who uses that?
Hey, I have that. Thank you.
You and one of the execs at CW have that because you got it for free.
That is where I watch Black Lightning, Arrow.
Of course,
Black.
right? Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh my goodness.
No, I had it once.
So like, oof. Did you use Jeff's password?
No, I think that one is free actually.
Yeah, it is.
But
It should be.
I hope people are excited and will watch this wherever it shows up, because I didn't pay attention close enough to know where it's going to be airing. But I would assume it's still owned by Warner Brothers, so it would be on probably a Warner Brothers owned streaming service or something like that.
Oh, it might be HBO Max because they've been putting a lot of.
I was about to say it's probably gonna go. No. It's going Hulu. What am I talking about?
Oh, it's
Oh,
going to
yeah,
Hulu.
yeah.
It's gonna be on Hulu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
Well,
going to Hulu.
can't wait for that. More trailer news. Blue, what do you have for us?
Oh, I have the wave for you, bro.
Oh, dude.
The Mandalorian
I
season
was
2
worried if you were
trailer.
gonna watch it or not.
The real one actually dropped.
There was a
earlier.
fake one?
Yeah, there was.
Well, let me
actually.
tell you what this guy did. So
Go ahead,
He's like,
tell
yo,
him what
you
this
see
guy
the
did.
I get a message in Discord. Hey, have you seen the Mandalorian 2 season 2 trailer? I'm like, no, I haven't. Like, let me get that. He posted it, and he's like, let me know after you watch it. I'm like, okay, cool. Now,
Took him a while too.
yeah, this is an event for me. So I went. I was at work. I had my lunch. Sitting down in the office. Had the phone propped up.
Tell
Put
him
it
what it
on.
looked like too.
Yeah, it looked like it was official. It looked like it was real. So I hit it, and you see somebody walking in the desert, and I'm like, okay, where we going? What's going on? And then you get this guy coming out singing and dancing, and I'm like, what the heck is this? So I watched for a little bit. Maybe this is like a commercial for YouTube or something. Maybe like okay, and then I'm like, no. I was like, no, this fool didn't. It was
You
like,
got Rickrolled.
So is that your first time being rickrolled?
yes.
That's what it sounds like. Because
Like,
he said
what?
this guy. I was like, yo.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on here? And I was like, shame on you. You took something so beloved and took it.
So there's a couple of Rickrolls that are going around, and I'll give you guys a tiny bit of backstory on this. Before I actually sent that one to Jeff, there's another one that I saw that was done by a YouTube channel called like Ads Something. So they make fake ads, right? It got me, and I was like, I shouldn't have even clicked on it because I looked at who it came from.
Mhm.
The Rickroll that I sent Jeff actually came from IGN. So there's a whole bunch of views on it. It looked legit. There was no way to doubt it initially, unless you
Oh,
look at the
wow.
comments ahead of time.
That's
Man,
like it's
I
not
was
even
like, when I
April.
looked at it,
and it
I
was
was
a
like,
scene
why does
that
it
looked
have?
like
It did look real. It was like, why does it have almost equal dislikes as it does likes? I'm like, what's going on? Like, I've never seen that before.
yeah.
Like, something thousand likes, something thousand dislikes. I'm like, that many people didn't like it? I need to watch this
Granted,
now.
the guy
Like,
walking through the desert was Boba Fett, so it looked like Boba Fett was coming back
but
in
it looked
Mandalorian season
old.
2.
So I'm like, maybe they used some old
Exactly.
footage. But I'm like, okay, let's see what's gonna happen here. Where's we going? And we ain't go nowhere.
Yes, you did.
But let's talk about the real one.
You never got given
Yeah,
up.
you got
Is what
rolled.
happened.
The real one actually dropped. It didn't give us a lot,
Mm-mm.
and I like that. That's what I think a trailer should be. It shouldn't give you plot points. It shouldn't like show all the new people that are coming through. It should just let you know, hey, they back in action. They're in different situations now. Come back and watch. I feel like that's exactly what this trailer did, right?
It
You
did.
see a couple new interactions with the child. You hear a little voiceover from season 1 talking about what his new mission is. Bringing, he said, "So you want me to bring this strange child to enemy sorcerers?" He's
Right.
talking about the Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said your people have
And-
had beef with these people, but that's where you need to take this kid.
Yeah. So if you're not gonna keep him, that's
Yeah.
basically the choice. He's yours or he's theirs. You gotta do one or the other. So, and that's the dilemma that was brought to the Mandalorian at the end of the first season. That's what they showed in the trailer. Perfect. I got no spoilers from the. You know, I've said this multiple times before. There's all these articles. Oh, these characters are coming into season 2. Oh, we're gonna see this. Oh, we're gonna see that. I hate that. I hate that. Why are you spoiling it for me? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, I can see them trying to get people excited, but
People hype.
I'm a fan
yeah.
of this style as well. Like, kind of save it for like people who were fans of the first season. Like, they'll come. Like, you don't
Yeah.
need to.
Exactly. I don't.
Draw
I
them
feel like
Exactly.
the first season was so good, you don't need to hype. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when like let's
Exactly.
say the first season struggled, then you kind of need to.
Yeah,
get
they
people
might
into
have
it.
needed some kind of shot in the arm.
Exactly. But I mean, one, you got actors begging to be on this show. In general, a lot of actors just want to be on Star Wars sets, right? So it's not like you losing hype, just like you guys said. But again, this trailer did not give anything away, and that's what I love in a trailer. But it still got me hyped. It showed we're back in action. We're in a different situation. We got a new goal. Let's do it. So
Yes.
that's what. Yeah, what's
I
up?
did like some of. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say what I did get from the trailer was
Mhm.
it seemed like they're actually getting a bump in some of the special effects because
Yes, and the locations are like they got
Yeah.
some more money.
yeah, it really looks like that. Because like I'm like, yo, this looks like just regular Star Wars movie stuff going on right now. With like they had the scenes with like the X-wings near him, like the
Yeah, that's
stormtroopers jumping
scary.
out of like the ships on the speeders or whatnot. Like all that stuff looks super high quality CG. Like
I mean, even
Disney,
the first
man.
season, they did a great job at not making it look like such like they didn't
like a TV
it
show.
looked great. It looked like
Yeah,
a movie in
right.
a TV show. It looked great. Like you know, like watch Star Trek or something like that.
Mhm.
It looks like a TV show. This looked like full blown movie productions that were going on. The one fight in the swamp with the what's the names? What are they called? The walkers with the
Oh
lasers
right,
on them, the
right,
big
yes.
Oh yeah.
that was done magnificently. Like it was great. Yeah, and the trailer did a great job at showing the interaction between the child and the Mandalorian. Now, like if you look like when they were about to ambush him
And you press
in the
the button.
little
Yeah, you
yeah,
went.
like, oh, I know what's going down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Time to go.
that thing is
that's
still
definitely a
super funny.
highlight. Yeah.
More memes on the way for sure.
Yeah, Gina
Oh yeah.
Carano's back. What's the
Yeah,
name is
man.
back. So like you said, did a great job of saying, hey, more of what you love is here. Stay tuned. This is what's going on. I think they showed
Still a huge
now.
mystery.
I don't know if you peeped it though. There was a lady, a red lady in a black cloak that looked like maybe she was either that was an alien type, maybe she was red, or maybe she was a Sith. Because what happens is my issue, well not my issue, but it leaves it very interesting when he said he didn't know what Jedi were, which means he doesn't know what the Sith are.
Mm, hold on, no. He knows what Jedi are.
No,
He
no,
knows
he,
about the Mandalorian Wars.
he didn't
He's
know what
just
Jedi were because he
okay.
said,
Well, we're gonna have to.
cause remember he said she said, where do you want me to take it? That's why he called them sorcerers.
Yeah, like the
Otherwise,
person.
he would have said
Yeah, it's
Jedi.
because she described
Yeah,
them as a race of
Sorcerer.
sorcerers known as the
Yeah,
Jedi. Like she said that to
yeah.
him, so it did sound
Okay.
like he didn't know
Mm-mm.
what Jedi were.
And so my thing was, he doesn't. He's not going to know what Sith are, because that was a big thing that I think I saw an article a couple weeks ago that was like, it explained how come people don't know what Jedi are during the time of the Mandalorian. Like, why don't they know? Like, because it hasn't
Oh
been
yeah.
that many years since the Jedi existed. But anyway, it showed a lady in a black cloak. So, and she had like red. She was like a red looking alien. Like, I don't know if she's a Sith or if she's just a red alien. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, but she had like
She
a
could be
black
a
cloak
Jedi.
on.
It definitely feels like that's a force sensitive that's watching and trying
Yeah,
to see what he is. Yeah.
but yeah, that's all I
Um.
got.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot to this story. It's very mysterious. It's a space cowboy story. Through and through, man. It's great.
All right.
Now, like, it's funny, and I won't go too far into this, but with a lot of things that are coming out right now, I'm becoming less of a. Ooh, this is gonna be hard to say. I'm becoming less of a Star Wars fan. And I'm gonna say that with the movies specifically, because I
I
feel
can see
like,
that.
yeah, yeah, the more, but the extended universe of Star Wars is still super intriguing to me. My girlfriend and I are still playing the Old Republic. We just actually started buying subscriptions for that, so we getting into that. I love everything around the movies, but right now the movies are seeming much more trouble than they're worth.
Oh wait, is that the
um,
MMO on PC? Is that what you're playing?
yeah. hmm Yep, yep. But okay, that's all I got for that, man.
All right, so we'll move on from the trailer stuff into video games proper. Big news! Finally, Sony's showcase dropped on the 16th.
hmm
They showed off a couple of games, most of which we have seen before, but we got longer extended looks. But more importantly, they finally let us know the price.
It's a good price, man.
$4.99 for the main version with the disc drive. $3.99 for the discless version. So $500, $400 for both their iterations.
So my thing with the price is, I feel like, and this isn't me being biased. I feel like Microsoft landed the price perfectly. There's enough of a gap between. Here's the thing: if I'll spend 400, I'll spend 500.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that 299 price point and the 499, that extra $200, there's a difference.
You
There's
feel that a
enough.
lot more.
Yeah, so you're like, yeah, I'll sell enough of the lower ones, and if people would spend, 399, they'll definitely go ahead and spend that 499. Not saying that
Mm,
that those aren't fat prices. I mean, I'm just saying me in general. If something costs 400, the difference between me getting the Xbox and not getting it isn't going to be well if it's 400 and 399 and 299 and 399. I'll definitely get the 399 one. If it was, let's say, if it was 599 and 299, guess what? I'm getting that 299 one. So there's enough of a gap in between the prices to to pull people either way, is what I'm saying.
I see what you mean.
one of the biggest arguments I've been got at me right now. As of right now, I'm not decided. I really think I'm not getting any console launch day. Like that's probably not gonna happen for me right now. That's how I'm feeling. But I don't know which console I'm gonna pick up first, to be honest, because the Series S, the 299, it doesn't do much more than my Xbox One right now, and
Wait,
it's not gonna
do you
do too
have
much
the
more.
original Xbox One or the series, not the Series X, but the Xbox One X?
I think it's the One X. I'd have to double check. But the fact is, um, I'm gonna have all the same games, right? My Game Pass is still in order.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still gonna have access to. I think EA Play is still gonna be accessible
Yep, that's
on
just
this.
coming to Game
So
Pass Ultimate period.
yeah, the question is, why do I need a console this year? What games do I need a console for? And initially, that was the reasoning for getting the PS5. That's why we said PS5 day one. That's what we're gonna get. But these prices, while they're not bad, I'm still not sure that it's gonna be enough bang for my buck. And that's what we're. I think that's what the biggest debate is right now.
Yeah, because honestly, when they drop these prices, like I literally the week before, I kind of said this. Like I half wanted to just take that clip and just post it somewhere and say like I called it because after
Do it.
Xbox released their prices, Sony's gonna do exactly this, and that's what they did. And it's because, like I was saying, Sony didn't really differentiate between their two versions other than the disc drive. That's the only thing that's missing. So their console that's $100 cheaper is still the exact same power as the discless one, and I think that actually makes a difference for that console to lack a disc drive and be $400 is kind of the same thing over again where Xbox went, hey, we have a $500 console, it's does all this stuff. Well, not kind of the same thing, sort of the same thing. We have this $500 console that does all the same stuff, and Sony goes, well, we have one that does all that and is $100 less. Like, so, except in this situation, Sony's is Sony's is weaker than Xbox's. Like they have the same price. This is very hard to describe because both their models, both their top of the line models, are the exact same price, but Xbox is giving you more in terms of power, if that's something you care about.
Well, that's the Series X, right? Not the
Yes,
Series
Series
S,
X, right?
because the Series S is worse.
Yes, it's
It's
degraded in terms
comparable
of
to my
power.
Xbox One.
Well, it's comparable to the Xbox. No, it's stronger than
One.
Xbox One X, I think.
Mhm.
Yes.
But what they're
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
is, because this was something that was brought up, if you play older games on it, it will only run those older games at the level of the Xbox One S. Like it won't add the upgrades that the X gives you
Right.
from the previous generation. So that's something to consider. But then again, what we're really comparing are like both their tiers of service. So like Sony kind of split the difference in such a way that if you're looking solely at just the price of the machines, you really can just go either way. Like
Yeah.
it's a toss up. Like they kind of hit it right in the center because they didn't go lower.
Those are really good prices.
Yeah, they matched them, and then the hardware is actually better on the lower end than Xbox's lower end hardware. Though it's like
Yeah.
a full $100 cheaper than
Oh
that, but
man.
there's a reason for it.
Yeah. So let me so just for the GPU power, the Series X is 12.15 megaflops. I mean teraflops.
Mm-hmm.
The Series S is 4 teraflops.
Right. So yeah, it's a
Okay.
downgrade in terms of power, like just processing
Yeah.
power. So it's a very cheap way to get into the next generation. And if you're not like a super heavy gamer, and like you don't have a 4K TV, for example, like you're not going to make use of a lot of that graphical power, then you don't necessarily need a Series X, at least not right away. But the other side of this, of course, is the fact that one, Sony does not have um, Sony does not have any kind of payment plan option here. Like Xbox has the all access thing, which makes the upfront cost of jumping into that generation way smaller. Like you're paying a fraction of it, though it's a monthly thing for 24 years. You're also
The
getting
24 months.
24 months. Sorry, 24 years.
Not
What
like
they charging?
My
How
God,
much they charging
24
you,
months.
son?
I don't think that's something that
Woo!
we should really skip over either. That's
Mhm.
a 2-year contract.
I
You're
mean,
locked in for 2 years.
well, locked in the sense that you're kind of renting the system until you paid it off. Like you can return it, I believe, or trade it back in if you want to upgrade to something else. But yeah, it's almost the same as how like a lot of cell phone carriers handle device plans now.
Yep.
And Sony doesn't have an option like that. So you are gonna just drop that money in bulk. The other thing though is at launch, and this is kind of Sony's sticking point. Like it was the theme throughout their conference. They're trying to sell you on you want to be here with Sony because we have these very high quality games.
We got the games, baby. We got the games.
I think,
And they had some very good games.
I mean, they do. Like, I'm not saying Sony doesn't have quality in their first party lineup, but the only things you're going to see on launch right now, I think, are only 3 titles: Spider-Man Miles Morales,
Yep.
Demon Souls, and what is the third one?
First party was...
I can't remember.
Crap. Yeah, I'm blanking on what the third first party studio game is. But the thing is, I think at least 2 of the 3, if not all 3, are now also going to be releasing on PS4, which is literally opposite of what Sony said. They said that we believe in generations, blah, blah, blah. They were kind of throwing shade at Microsoft for saying, we're not going to have people, there's not going to be a cutoff for the next gen, at least for like a year or 2 after launch. But Sony all of a sudden goes, well, PS4 players will get these same games. So what now is your reason to drop $400 or $500 on a PS5 when the most popular games that are coming out for it on launch day are also going to be available on the PS4 you already have?
So I think that's the same argument I'm making with
Right.
my Xbox.
Yeah, which
right
I
now.
agree
So,
with. Like, there's no rush to go get that because of
there's
this.
no rush to get either of them, in my opinion. None of them are doing anything special at launch that I want to be a part of, that I don't have access to now. That's how I feel about this next gen. I'm actually, and in hindsight, I'm actually pretty disappointed, because in the past, anytime there's a new console, the next generation is revolutionary. This is almost staying in the same spot.
I
What
don't
we're
know,
hearing from both sides.
The games do look a lot better graphically, but do you mean more so as games? Is that what you mean?
Well,
Because
yeah.
think
I
it's
mean,
good.
they're gonna look better graphically, right?
Mhm,
Cool. If you got a 4K TV.
mhm.
If you
But that's
don't,
been if you didn't have an HD TV or a flat screen before, when
Yeah.
they went to there, it was the same thing.
true,
Now,
right?
do you think their decision to be inclusive, which was so, and that's what Xbox said was, if you don't get an Xbox Series X right away, you won't be left behind. Do you think that's hurting them? Should they did it to where the point where they're leaving people behind, or should they did their decision to kind of make everything kind of forward and backwards work against them or for them?
I think it works for the community, and I'll say this for the Sony side as they're doing similar actions. I think it works for maybe the consumers, but it doesn't work for the next generation.
Right. It's an argument.
Technology.
Yeah. It's an argument against
Yeah.
upgrading. Right.
Yeah.
And what I find so interesting about that is Microsoft has been making it fairly clear, even if people aren't, listening, that they don't kind of want to be beholden to the console fight anymore. Like they lost it. They kind of tucked their tail in between their legs and said, "All right, you guys got it. We want to focus on the services." And so, yes, they have a console, but the fact that they're not, pressuring people to jump into the next generation by cutting their access off to their games platform is proof of that. Sony is in a different boat. Sony doesn't have services that they want people to be, intrinsically signed up for. They still want to sell hardware to everybody and basically get the bigger install base. So this kind of is a detriment to that plan, and I agree, it's better for consumers, but it is worse for Sony as a company because people aren't going to be as anxious to upgrade.
They're trying to push PlayStation Plus collection, right?
Right, which was also announced during the conference.
Services, right? And that's kind of Game Pass. That's their version of Game Pass right now, and they're trying to make it better. But the idea is to have a Game Pass for Sony, which would basically offset. I feel it offset kind of what you're saying right now, if it works, if it does what it's supposed to be, because at that point you don't have to upgrade. You see what I'm saying? And they are in the same boat.
I mean, I would differentiate that because it is their answer to Game Pass, but I feel like they weren't paying attention during the lesson. If you get
I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm saying that's their goal.
But I feel like it's gonna fall flat because the thing that makes Game Pass right now so special, like Microsoft's Game Pass right now so special, is the breadth of content. The fact that new stuff shows up on it, like brand new stuff shows up on it, first party stuff will show up on it and whatnot. Sony literally said, we will not put new first party games on a subscription service. The stuff that they have on there is mostly kind of the Sony's greatest hits from the PlayStation 4 generation.
Yeah, I was a little like, why is infamous Second Son coming back?
Right. Yeah. So like they're looking at PlayStation Collection as sort of a halfway step between a Game Pass like service and backwards compatibility with the previous console generation, because Microsoft is destroying them in both of those. The Xbox Series S can play everything, every single thing from the previous Xboxes, whereas Sony, you can play the PS4 stuff that's in that collection, but you cannot play PS3 games, you cannot play PS2 games, you cannot play PS1 games, not natively at least. Like maybe remakes, remasters. I think maybe there are some titles available on PlayStation Now, but in general, you just can't do it.
I think a lot of what it comes down to is, it's quality versus quantity, and I feel like
that's the argument they're trying to make right now.
Yeah, I feel like both of those, quality and quantity, are so subjective to each gamer that I feel like people really need to see, what games do I actually want to play? Do I want to have access to all these old school Xbox games? Do I care?
Mm-hmm.
If I don't care, let me go Sony side. You know what I mean? So, I like, for example, sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you're not a huge Halo fan, why would you care about the Master Chief Collection? You know what I mean? Why would you care about the new Halo? I'm personally not a Halo fan. Like I play it. I've played it before. I've had great times on it, but it's not like, oh, Halo's coming back. Wow. No, that's not me. Right? I'm just like, okay, we're doing another one. It's not a selling point for me.
Mm-hmm.
For other folks, maybe Infamous Second Son. Oh my God, that was my favorite game. I gotta get this. You know what I'm saying? So quality versus quantity, I think is very. It's going to be very specific. I feel like everybody's going to have a different answer to why they're going to get a Sony, why they're going to get a PS5, why they're going to get a Xbox Series. And this because they're so close and so similar, I think it's really hard to debate which is the best one because of the variability of gaming.
And I think that's good. What were you going to say, Jeff?
Me, I feel like this. So we also have to think about the prices of the games. Xbox has not announced what their games are going to cost. So if they do go $70, it makes Game Pass
even more valuable, right?
More valuable.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, if they don't, then here's the other end for Sony, for me, and it would work for Xbox as well. If they're going to release the same games on PS5 that they're going to release on PS4 and Xbox on Xbox One, and the PS5 versions are $70, and the last gen PS4 versions are $60, and you own a PS4, and you can play it on your PS4, same thing for Xbox and Series X, that $70, are you going to say, hey, I'm going to go get this PS5, for whatever the game is, when you have a PS4 at home and you can play the one on your PS4 without paying that $70? I feel like that's going to be a deciding factor as well. I mean, it goes for Xbox as well.
I was going to say, it's kind of on both sides of the spectrum.
If they go to $70 and I can go and, well, here's the thing though. So if you do buy it on your Xbox, you get, most of the games are free on your Series X.
Right, that is true.
Now hold on. Before you say free, a lot of times, and if small print, right, is like multiplayer version is free, or just a small part of the game is free, and then the rest you got to pay for. So we got to be really specific and really know what we're getting in Game Pass. Not all this stuff is going to be full game, straight Game Pass. You got it. You know what I mean?
No. What I mean like is for example, Cyberpunk 2077. If
Hmm.
you buy it on Xbox One, you get it a free upgrade on Series
Right.
X.
Yeah, they're calling
Xbox,
that smart delivery,
yes.
which is a
Hmm.
dumb
Xbox,
name. It doesn't really mean anything.
yeah. That makes me think of like a mailing
It's
service.
catchy.
But yeah,
Is it?
like Xbox said that's something that they're gonna kind of push. They don't want you to have to pay double for
Right.
games, which makes sense.
But
Now,
yeah, but like Blue was saying, it's not a universal thing because apparently I think right
no,
now it's on a game by game
yes,
basis. But I would probably assume, I don't think we've gotten confirmation. I would probably assume that anything that's coming out of Microsoft's first party studio would probably follow the same logic, you know. But either way, you would have access to it as a Game Pass subscriber anyway if you were on Game Pass. If not, I would imagine they would try to keep the goodwill by saying you bought it on this old system, you upgrade it to the next one, you get the better version there at no additional cost.
yeah. And that's what I think. But the holiday season is coming up, so you're gonna have parents out buying these consoles if they can, or games, or whatever it is. So they're gonna be looking for price. They're gonna be looking for value. They're gonna be looking for, how can I get him what he want, but not spend $1 million. So these, we haven't seen any bundles yet for the holidays. We haven't seen what that's gonna look like. So like for a parent who's out to buy a system for their child, they're like, this. They're not gonna know the difference between a Series S and a Series X or
I mean, yeah,
PS.
Uh,
They're gonna
okay,
be.
so
Mhm.
I do want to say, right? Um, I know our folks in general probably not gonna have a clue on what's going on, right?
Mhm.
I'm speaking very generally,
mm-hmm.
Mhm.
but they're not the parents buying consoles anymore. We are.
Mhm.
Kind of.
You know what I'm saying?
But if I send my girlfriend out to buy a system, she's
Hmm.
not gonna know about the system. Now I would, or she called me and said it. That's different. So
Right.
I think just because the generation is different, there's still people who don't know much about
I
that
mean
particular.
that is
I
true, but what I do want to counter to what you're saying, Jeff, is what makes the most sense is not necessarily what's the most popular, and I feel
Mhm.
like depending on who is in your circles and whatnot, there are a lot of dumb people who are fans of video games. In all honesty, and like they'll have friends who don't know anything about video games, and they'll know that that friend loves video games, so they'll be like, "Oh, hey, I'm in the store
Whatever
right
they're doing,
now.
I'm gonna do.
Right, yeah. Should I get a
Okay.
PS5 or Xbox One? What's the best thing I should get with the money I have?" And they'll
And
tell
they're gonna
them,
get what they want.
yeah, they'll tell them what they would get, and it doesn't make any sense for the person who's buying it. So,
I mean, that's what we're doing right now. Like,
I mean, no. I mean, I feel like what we're doing right now is honestly weighing the pros and cons of both situations. Like,
for sure, yeah.
because
I feel
I
like,
would never,
but
I would
that
never tell
that
anybody to
dumb
do a
friend.
thing. I would never tell anybody to do a thing because I think it's the right thing to do. I'm saying I think this makes sense. If you agree with me, then you could follow that advice or not, because maybe it doesn't make sense for you. Like that's how I look at it anyway.
Yeah. It's all personal, I feel like, because we all own both systems even now. So it's like
Right. Like at
I
some
do
point, I'm probably gonna have
yeah,
all of this
exactly.
stuff
I
anyway.
do enjoy playing my PlayStation, first party games. That's what I play on there, things I can't. I play on Xbox because that's where the majority of the people I play with do play, and the community is a lot I'm more used to, and I feel like it's a little bit more well established. But I do still play my PlayStation because there are games that I can only play on PlayStation.
Right.
Yeah.
So, one of the last things I want to talk about for this event is the date. Sony did drop the actual release date, which I believe is
Hmm.
November 12th. So that's 2 days after Xbox's date, November 10th. So once again, because I think last year they were also just about the same distance away from one another's launch. But with the date also came Sony's promise of, letting people know when they'd be able to pre-order. And apparently somebody, I think Walmart, pulled the trigger like a couple hours after the conference, which was like way too early. And basically all the floodgates got opened. Everyone was scrambling to get PlayStation 5 pre-orders, and basically everything was sold out for days. So I think that speaks to the popularity of PlayStation right now. That
100%.
I mean, they're gonna sell their boxes, both versions, right now.
Yeah. And you got to think about this too. You do have the people who do go and buy them with no intention of keeping them,
That's true.
but all the intention
Scalpers.
To
resell
resell, yeah, because
them.
those are already up as well. Yeah, you can see the
I
eBay
worked at
listings.
Best Buy when the Xbox 360 came out.
360.
PS3. You had people sleeping out to get them. You had people buying them because they were reselling them. So it's a good mix. So I think both systems are gonna see that big rush to get them. But also we don't know how many units are put out. You'll see. Watch, and remember, you heard it here first.
I hear you.
Yeah, we'll mark this
My
prediction.
prediction is that
What time is it?
is that
12,
the
18.
the Xbox pre-order, while it might be sold out, I don't think it's going to be nearly as fast or chaotic as the
No,
PlayStation.
because I think it'll be a little bit more well established.
Yeah, Xbox they actually threw shade at Sony for it. So like they're saying,
yeah.
"Oh, we're gonna handle this much better than these guys."
Yeah.
So like they kind of
We don't
wanted.
know how many units were put out either. For
That's true.
Each system. Yeah, for pre-order. There was no units given like, hey, this X amount is going to be available for pre-order for over here, and then X amount is going to be available for us. We just know that they're sold out. So we don't know
how many.
It could have been a low
up.
quantity. Yeah, I think we spoke about this a while past, where the tax on different parts coming from China, if that was going to affect the amount of units that were going to be produced for the initial release of the console.
Yeah, that was a concern. Then the coronavirus thing was also a concern in terms of them producing a certain number. But Sony has apologized for the fiasco so far. They said that was a mistake. They messed up.
Shouldn't have happened, yeah.
And that more are on the way soon. So like they're claiming that they're going to have additional units for people to buy. So hopefully it will tone down the sold outness of people who want to adopt early and can't. But Microsoft has promised in response to this that their rollout of the pre-order thing is going to be a much smoother process, which, I mean, for Sony, it looks bad because they made a promise that basically wasn't upheld. But on the other hand, it looks good because it's like, oh, this is a hot ticket item. Even people who maybe were willing to wait are like, oh, well, maybe I won't be able to get one, so I should jump on it now. If Microsoft tones that down by saying, like, everyone who wants one, it'll be available, that fervor probably doesn't hit the same way. So one, people don't get as excited. Yeah, the FOMO doesn't happen. And then it also just on the surface looks like there aren't that many people or as many people as Sony clamoring to get an Xbox because their stock isn't being sold out immediately. Which on the surface looks a certain way, but it could just be Microsoft handling the situation responsibly. So I don't know. Like there are pros and cons to a botched release.
Yeah.
But
the last thing I want to touch on with that is I think this is good for GameStop, who's been in trouble. I think this is going to help. The new consoles coming out hopefully will help them because you have people going. You're going to go. You can pick up your console at the store. You can pre-order at the store, whatever GameStop you go to. You're going to have your accessories that you're going to need to get, whatever games you want. I think it's going to help get people in the store to get their systems and whatever else they need. I think it's a refresh because now at this point with Xbox One, you pretty much have everything you need unless something has broken or whatever it is. You've established you have what you need. Now, we're going into a new console cycle. You're going to need to kind of start to re-up on things. So I think that's good for them. Hopefully, they benefit from it because they have been struggling. I think we talked about this.
Yeah, not too long ago they closed a lot more stores.
I will say the way I feel about GameStop right now. You guys have both played Borderlands 3. Mm-hmm. When you go down and they're fighting for their life, they're waiting for these consoles to come resident.
Yeah, they've been holding
That's
on.
how I feel.
That second breath,
They shooting at everything they can to get people in these stores while coronavirus is outside, and they're waiting for the consoles to come to get that hype back and get people irresponsibly close to each other, lining up outside doors again. That's gonna be a whole nother thing.
Hopefully they handle that. Yeah, I would hope they handle that differently.
Without social distancing, right? We've seen lines around blocks for less than new consoles,
Mhm.
right? That it's gonna be crazy. I'm not hyped for that. Hopefully, there's more online orders than anything.
Yeah.
I'm not hyped
Hopefully
for
I
it's
would
that
assume
pre-order.
that's
physical.
gonna
Yeah.
lead the way,
Because
honestly.
even the people
Uh,
who hate pre-orders, I mean, and they suck, by the way. They hate pre-orders, but you know, they're gonna be pre-ordering now more than ever. Do you know anybody like that? Like who
No,
just
I can't think of
absolutely
anybody.
hate pre-orders? Okay, well now they're like, you know what, I need to pre-order something now. Now they want to do it, you know?
That's
Now
not
they
true.
want to pick and choose
I want
when they pre-order stuff. I'm not saying I'm not pointing fingers or nothing like that. I'm just
buying
saying
stuff off the internet is great.
mm, that's not
Whether
pre-ordering.
you call it an online order or a pre-order doesn't necessarily matter. Besides the point. But I think that's gonna do it for the PS5
yeah.
showcase talk. We do have a mailbag question this week sent to us from an anonymous person. But if you would also like to send us messages, please send your emails to bbetgaming@gmail.com, like this person did, who asked us to keep their name secret. This is their question. Hi guys, I have a random question. Here is some background info. My boyfriend watches your podcast. He's an avid gamer. We've been together for 5 years. In the beginning of our relationship, intimacy and attention was high. There was a fair balance between work, life, game life, and relationship time. But since we've lived together for about a year, I feel like gaming has taken priority. I have to nag to get attention that I crave. I have to nag to get the attention that I crave, which makes me feel like a B word. Do you have any suggestions on what I can do other than nagging to get his attention? I've even walked in the room naked and he paid me no mind. Hopefully, when you read this, he will know who you're talking about. LMAO. So,
The first thing I want to say is thank you, boyfriend, for being to our podcast.
yes,
Basically.
thanks for listening.
And thank you, girlfriend. I'm guessing you watch as well. That you
You know what I'm
submitted
saying?
the question, so.
I know that's not what we're focusing on, but like,
But no, I really do appreciate this question because I do think this is a situation that a lot of gamers and gamer couples deal with. Period. Like it's not unique. It's kind of a story that we've heard or probably experienced many times in our lives. Just that balance of, doing something, you enjoy as a hobby and, other responsibilities like a relationship, for example. I do have a couple of questions though. Like, you guys have been living together for a year, and only then, after a 5-year relationship, you're saying the intimacy has started to downplay. I wonder if maybe that intimacy downplaying is more so you guys live together now. You probably see each other a lot more often than you did when you were in separate places. I feel like couples need to miss one another in a lot of instances. Like if you're, cramped in the same space for far too long, you can start to get on one another's nerves. No matter how much you love the other person, like you're gonna start to get some pet peeves happening. And so I don't know. I don't know if gaming is to blame for that, but once again, you wrote this question into 3 dudes who are talking about video games all day, every day. So there might be a little bit of bias there, but I do wonder if gaming is the actual cause of that lack of intimacy. I mean, I do have some other thoughts, but I'm curious what you guys make of the situation.
so she said intimacy and attention was high, and I feel like it's very important to check out to check in on and offline. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times when you guys play with me, we'll do a round of whatever or a level or something. Guys, hold on, I need to go check on the lady real. Right? I think things like that really help you stay grounded in reality while still be a good gamer, or I should say, a active gamer. Now, that's not something that you can do. That's something that he's gonna have to take responsibility for.
Mm-hmm.
I think as a man, he just needs to say, okay, I got time to do this. I got time to do that. I got time to do this. Just like any micromanaging video game, right? You have to look at The Sims. I think The Sims is such a good real talk. Like The Sims is really a good example. You have all these meters, the needs, right? You have needs for social, you need needs for fun, needs for bathroom, hunger, all kinds of stuff. You really got to look at those meters in your head and be like, okay, you know what? I really haven't socialized with my girl a lot today or this week because I was busy for whatever. Let's take some time. You know what I mean? Let's get offline or let's play games with her. Either way, that time you only have a certain amount of time. You have to divvy it up, no matter what. You have to divvy it. So my dad always said, you always got time for the things that you want to do, right? It's never, oh, I ran out of time. It's I put other things ahead of that.
Mm.
There's some things that you have to do, some things that you want to do. But the fact is, whatever you wanted to do the most, for whatever reason, you did it.
That's what got done. Yep. Now, for me, kind of what KC said. When you first meet somebody, that attention is there from both parties. It's just high. It's at its peak.
Yeah, like they call it the honeymoon phase.
Yeah, because
Puppy
it's
dog
very
face.
new. Now that first year's same thing. It's very new. You guys are living together. You're seeing each other. Something you haven't been together for a couple years. Now next year comes. Now it starts to be a little less and a little less because you do see each other every day, all day. And what happens is you fall into a routine. You go to work, you come home, things get busy. You got this, you got that, and then it's like, oh well, I want to take some me time. I want to play the game. I want to do this. I want to do that, or whatever it is. And so I think it's very important to have shared hobbies that you do together. So whether that's video games, whether that's you like the same type of movies. Um, for me, I feel like if I'm playing a game too much, I feel guilty. You know what I'm saying? So I'll stop. Whether it's a slap on the butt, a kiss on the cheek, whatever it is. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Keep that. Hey, I know you're here.
I'm here. I'm
Mhm.
Yeah,
checking in.
exactly. I see what's going on. I'll pop away. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you need anything? Whatever. Blah blah
Hmm.
blah. What you want to eat?
Take
Whatever
the
it is.
headphones off. Walk
Exactly.
around.
Yes. Be attentive to that, but also it goes for your part as well. Don't make him feel like he's doing something wrong when he is gaming. Be involved. Say, hey, what are you doing? What's going on? Let me watch. Let me sit and watch a little bit. Blah blah blah. But he also has to have a time limit. For me to sit down and play, if I'm going to play for more than a couple minutes, I want to make sure I cross that. Like Blue said, I want to cross
Yup.
everything off my list.
Yeah,
If
take
I know
care
I
of
got to
Yup.
play,
everything else so that you're
yeah,
freed up.
You don't know
yeah,
how many times I go into the room. Hey, babe, do you need anything? I'm thinking about playing a game for an hour or two. You know
absolutely.
what I mean? I was thinking about doing this, and then sometimes I could read her. She's like, "No, you're fine," and I'm just like, "You want to watch a movie?" But you have to read that situation, and you have to prioritize.
I,
What's more important, dude?
I'm glad you brought that particular kind of situation up because I feel like
Yeah,
the other half of this, like she asked the question, what can I do to not nag?
There you go.
To not feel bad for like getting on him for doing a thing that he likes or whatnot.
Yeah,
The answer to that question is to talk to him.
yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
point
100%.
blank period. Like if you
Yep.
feel like he's like, don't feel bad about addressing the situation. If you feel like he's not giving you
It's something
something
that
that
you
you
need.
need, talk to him. Let
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
understand that he's messing up somewhere. Like if he's
If you need, go ahead, go ahead.
no, like if he's legit, he walks in the door from work or he gets off the computer from work, whatever the situation is, and then like the first thing he does is like, okay, y'all maybe eat together, and then he's like, all right, I'll talk to you later, and he's on a game for like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, without talking to you, like that can feel very isolating. So
Absolutely.
like talk to him about that, because
Especially,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
especially with quarantine going on.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just about to say,
Yes.
if if you need him the way that me and Casey needs haircuts, right, you need to say something. You need to say something. It's if he's legit on the game, 6 hours a day, hasn't said a word. Now, I'm not saying that he's doing anything right. I'm not
Mm,
saying that. I'm saying that if you want to do something about it, this is what you do. Say, hey, I want more of your time throughout the day because I love you and I want to spend this time with you. You guys have been together for 5 years and
Hmm.
living together for one, right? So it's not like y'all are strangers, but you're stranger to this physical realm, right?
mhm.
My girlfriend and I went through the same thing when we first lived together, moved in together, and we're still going through growing pains, especially with quarantine. There's no book to do this, man. There's all kinds of weird pressure going on, and I know that video games for a lot of us help us deal with that pressure.
Mm.
So maybe it's more therapeutic than ignoring. It's possible. I don't know, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know him, but I'm so glad that he's listened to our podcast, and hopefully both of you guys are, and you guys
But,
can
but
work through this, alongside us.
and
What are you
something I'm
saying,
gonna
Jeff?
add is it's equally important to have your own hobbies. Okay,
That's a really
I don't
good
know
point.
what the situation
Yep.
is, but you can't expect that person to occupy all your free time. So you have to have some things that you do for you, or that interest you, and then you go do your thing, he does his thing, and then you guys come together for that time. So that's
Yeah,
also
that's
very
really
Yep.
important, and honestly, that's a thing that a lot of people who have this exact complaint kind of don't factor in. It's like, okay, so when you're done with the your responsibilities and stuff that you want to do, all you have left is your significant other. And it's
That's
like,
heavy. That's
yeah,
a
like
lot to
if
put
your
on one person.
significant other, if they don't only have you after, like if they have anything else that they want to spend their time doing, then it puts the onus on them to stop doing a thing that they like, to then, and not to say that they don't like spending time with you, but like they
Yeah.
have other hobbies. So if you also don't have other things that you like to do, maybe it's a time to find them. And I understand that this is a person who said, they specifically said they're not giving me the attention that I need. Like if they need a certain amount of attention, I hesitate to say you should take less than what you say you need. But I feel like maybe evaluate perhaps how much of that attention is shared with another person, or it's attention you need that you're giving to a thing that's about you. Like kind of spend more time with yourself. I suppose. But either way, talk to that man.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
I said, communication
That's
is
what it comes
important.
down to. Talk.
Just because what I might need 8 bottles of water a day to get me through the day. Blue KC might only need 3 and 4. It's that what you need is gonna vary from person to person. So maybe let him know, and you gotta come to a compromise.
Right. Compromise is the
That's
key word there.
very very
Exactly.
important.
Yeah, because if neither party is budging on that, then I think you probably have bigger issues to work through.
Most
Because
definitely.
like if you're in a relationship, and you guys have been for like 5 years now, I'm sure there have been situations in the past where compromises have been made. So this is just another one of those.
I will say, a couple weeks ago, I was the needy person. I think I was in a very to our viewer here, and I had to kind of take a step back. Like I was a little angry. You know what I mean? It's like, man, she's here all day. She don't want to do nothing with me, but I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm giving her space, right? But I was festering.
Mm,
We ended up, by the end of the night, it came out because obviously she could tell.
What's wrong with
And
you?
it kind of came down to the fact that, one, quarantine is wild, right? I'm here, like in this seat, a lot of my day because this is my setup. This is where I work from. This is where I game from. This is where I talk to people from. This is where I'm at. My girlfriend, she works 4 or 5 days a week, depending on what's going on, and she's out the house for about 12 hours a day. So when she does get home, I'm like, oh, I want all of her time, because this is the person that I get to physically enjoy, and I'm not just talking about sex. I'm talking about just face to face talking, face to face interaction. That's social, and even just watching a movie together, that I cherish that. But at the same time, I need to realize that she needs time to decompress. She
Yes, that
needs
me
time
time. Yeah.
to be her.
hmm
I had to really sit down and say, oh, what, she needs her time, and I need to be cool with that. I can't be I can't be a baby about it.
yeah, you
um
that's what it is. It's a level of maturity you have to reach to understand that like other people, even your significant other, especially your significant other, cannot be your everything. I'm sorry. Like people love to think that that's kind of how this works. Like you find another person that's your soulmate, you love them, and now they are your be all end all everything. They handle all your problems. They are everything for you. That's a lot. I'm sorry. You gotta
they're
take some of that
everything
weight.
with you,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
for you,
Yeah.
with you. That's the difference. There's a lot of dependency, but I feel like a healthy relationship works on interdependency, where people depend on each other. You know what I mean? You
Ooh,
feel in
I
this
like
part of my
that.
life, I feel in that part of your life. Yeah,
You
man.
should put that
There's
in
a
your
lot that
book.
goes into it.
Put that in your book. I like
In
that.
my book, oh
Yeah.
man, my book's gonna have too much cursing about y'all on this.
Oh.
I don't know if I have enough time.
So I mean, I hope our relationship rambling helped in some way. But once again, I do think that the main takeaway is, you know, talk to him, talk it out.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Showing up in the room naked, that's a good strategy. I
You know,
feel like that
I,
should have been the
you
one,
know what? I'm
but
glad.
I
I'm
don't
glad you
know,
brought that
buddy.
up. I'm glad you brought that
Well,
up.
was it a competitive match going on? Was it ranked? That's the question.
Because timing is definitely
Very, very.
I want to
there's
say
definitely been time. Go ahead.
I
What's up?
don't know why that is the go-to. All like that is a very cliche solution to that problem. And honestly, I feel like it's kind of demeaning to men to think that if a naked girl just walks in front of their peripheral vision, then that is the best way to get their attention. I'm not saying it's a bad way, but like,
So put a cosplayer.
are
There you go.
do women think men are so simple that all they have to do to get their attention is to walk into a room naked? Because I feel like if they think that and it doesn't work, then you get a situation where they're like, oh my god, this man doesn't give a shit about me.
Yeah, that definitely hurts. It's a lot putting yourself out there like that, and I applaud you for that bravery. And I feel bad if you got hurt by that situation. I feel bad for you. That's rough, and I
But like you
sympathize
said,
with that.
timing is very important. You know.
Yeah, but timing is
Yeah.
definitely like if he just got on the game and then you show up and he's just like,
Wait, if he's
I
in the
just got all my
menu,
buddies together, you
well, that's
know.
why you have to learn. You have to be involved in and kind of learn some of that. Like if he's just in the main menu, he ain't made it that far yet. Like he ain't even in start matchmaking, nothing. So you good. Like eh, match just ended.
I
You know
will
what I'm saying?
say,
You go back to orbit. You know what I'm saying?
at
Yeah,
the end of the day, at the end of the day, he needs to prioritize better. And I feel if your question is, what can I do? What can you do? You can talk, sit down and talk about it. Say, hey, look, I need more of your time. And don't like do it while he's gaming or something. Maybe do it over dinner and just like, hey, this is something serious. I'm not mad at you, but I need more of your time.
Yeah, please, please don't start a conversation. Say we need to talk with no other
Oh,
context.
please do not say we
No,
need to
that's
talk.
the worst.
That is a terrible move. Please don't do it.
One thing my girl and I do
And then,
whenever,
okay, let's talk. When you want to talk later? No, 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 no,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no.
One thing my girl and I do whenever we have that, when we need to talk to each other, we say, hey, you got a second to talk? It's nothing bad, but I need to discuss it. Or it's something serious, but it doesn't have to do with you. Or give some kind of preface so people ain't started defensive. Of course, everybody's different, right?
Yeah, I don't.
But yeah,
I probably wouldn't even go with the preface. I would just say, like, if there's, like, I wouldn't do it like in the middle of, like, if they're busy or something's going on. But like, if we're,
oh yeah,
like, then I'm gonna just bring the thing up because now we can
I feel
talk
you.
about it.
Like I said, overall, I feel like the guy in this situation needs to take a lot more responsibility. I think he
Yeah.
needs to take the first move. Like, dude,
Yeah.
you are slacking right now.
Yeah, tell him
100%
what your
slacking.
issue is and give him an opportunity to see if he can correct it.
And be
And then y'all
realistic.
listen to this podcast again.
Yeah, be realistic. Be realistic with your expectations, though. You have, and both of you have to be. Like he can't expect
Yeah.
to do 6 hours of gaming. You can't expect to be cut it up
6
to 8
hours
a
of
day. Yeah. So,
whatever.
so
So I hope
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty solid. Yeah.
hope that helped.
Maybe
Thank you
you-
so much for writing in. Really appreciate it.
I hope none of us are in trouble after this one.
Right, it was an anonymous person. It could very well have been one of our significant others that wrote this message. Because, like I said, that's the walking in a room naked situation. It is super cliche. I feel like everyone has probably dealt with that at some point.
I feel like Casey's working
I-
his mind back. Like, wait,
I think all of us did when we read this. Like, wait,
I honestly feel like when we read this question, everyone was like, "Hold on, do I know?" Who
I was sitting
wrote
there
this?
doing math. Like, how long we been together now?
Oh my god! But that's actually gonna do it for episode 63 of the BBET GamesCast. Thanks to everybody who's been listening and watching. Jeff, where can people find you if they're looking for you on the internet?
So, if you are looking for me, you can find me at Superman Jeff 12 on Facebook, also on Twitch, Instagram. Make sure to check out the BBET Twitch channel. We got a bunch of new people streaming throughout the week. This past Friday, we played Among Us, which is a big hit.
Yeah. Oh, I can't believe I forgot to talk about that show.
Oh, right.
I mean, that
Yeah.
game.
I just remembered.
We did.
That was
Yeah. Pop into Discord.
definitely a highlight. Sorry,
Play.
Jeff.
No, you good. Pop into Discord. We do play different things. Among Us is among it. So definitely come check out the Discord. You can find the Discord here somewhere. You can find it.
Yeah, the link will be under the
It's gonna be in the
video
bio.
or the podcast info.
So yeah.
Thank you, Blue. How about you?
It's your boy Blue Bones BLUB0NES at that same tag, basically anywhere. Just like Jeff said, come check out our Twitch, come check out our Discord. We're doing a lot more new things in general, just in general. Our Twitch, we had Night Shadow this week, we had Uncle Fall, we had Kalamazoo. You know what I'm saying? You're not just seeing us no more. You're seeing the squad, you're seeing the family, and you're gonna see more. So definitely come through, pick your flavor. We got it. We got it. You know what I mean? But last but not least, Mr. Sigma, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on pretty much all social media at Sigma Gears 9. You can find me on Facebook at Sigma and Sun. You can find my 3-minute reviews as well as live streams with Escapist Magazine on the Escapist Magazine YouTube. I think I should have new reviews popping up alongside when this podcast drops. But once again, I just want to thank my 2 co-hosts. Thanks to Gamer, who is away right now. Thanks to everybody watching, everybody listening. We love you. We appreciate you. That's going to do it. Peace.
Picture me riding and rolling with models. Brand new Ferraris like we was winning the lotto. And that's all those fathers with me. Pouring the bottle, playing that ONG music that's gonna blow like Chicago.